This will be for the con assignment, factor quadratics by grouping. So if you recall the equation, quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, now we did factoring where there's no number in front of the x squared. In that case, a was just 1. Okay, but in this case, you have to do it a little bit differently. So when a is not equal to 1, okay, like right here, a equals 3, you want to find two numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b. Okay, so you can see right here a is 3 and c is negative 7. So a times c is going to be 3 times negative 7. Okay, and that's just negative 21. And you can see right here that b is negative 20. So let's write out the factors for negative 21. Okay, you have 7 times negative 3, negative 7 times positive 3, 21 times negative 1, negative 21 times positive 1. Okay, do any of these pairs add to negative 20? Well, yes, it's this right here. Okay, so in place of the negative 20x, we're going to write negative 21x and positive 1x. Okay, so we have the 3x squared, and instead of negative 20x, I'm going to write negative 21x plus 1x. Or you can just say plus x. And then at the end, we just have the negative 7 left over. Okay, now in order to factor by grouping, we're going to factor this binomial and this binomial separately. Okay, so you can see here we have 3 and negative 21, so we could definitely factor out a 3. And we have x squared and x, so we can factor out an x as well. Alright, you're basically, for the x's, you're basically taking the lowest exponent. So here you have 3x squared, here you just have x to the first power, or just x, so that gets factored out. So 3x times what will give you 3x squared? Well, that's just x. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times what will give you negative 21x? Well, that's just negative 7. Okay, so we factored this part right here. Now, x minus 7, there's nothing in common between them. There's nothing you can factor out. So we can just make it 1 times x minus 7. Okay, and now you see these two parts in parentheses match. Okay, 3x is multiplied times x minus 7, and 1 is multiplied times x minus 7. So factoring this, it's going to be 3x plus 1 parentheses, and then that's going to be times x minus 7. And that's your answer right there. So you just enter that in the box. I wish they gave you parentheses here. I guess they didn't. So 3x plus 1. And then new parentheses. X minus 7. All right. So as always, we have ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? We want two numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b. Alright? So you can see a is 15. That's the one with x squared. And you can see that c is negative 4. Okay? Make sure you get the plus minus sign. So it's going to be 15 times negative 4. And you can see from the equation b is the number with x. That's negative 4. So we write out the factors for negative 60 and look for the ones that add to negative 4. So what times what is negative 60? Well, you have 6 times negative 10. You have negative 6 times positive 10. You have 2 times negative 30. Okay, and you can keep going. Do we have a pair that adds to negative 4? Yes, that's right here. 6 plus negative 10 will give you negative 4. Alright? So in place of the negative 4x, we're going to write 6x and negative 10x. Alright? So we have 15x squared. And in place of negative 4x, we're going to write 6x minus 10x. Okay, so you can see this still equals negative 4x. And on the end, we have a negative 4. Alright, so we're factoring by grouping. Take this binomial here, and it's risky to put the negative side outside the parentheses. So instead of putting the negative outside the parentheses, I'm going to take this negative 10x minus 4, and I'm going to do plus negative 10x minus 4. Okay, that's the same thing. So in this one here, I know that 15 and 6 are both divisible by 3. And between the x squared and the x, the smallest exponent is just x. So 3x times what is 15x squared? Well, that's just 5x. 3x times 5x is 15x squared. And 3x times what will give us 6x? Well, that's just 2. Okay? Now, for this here, we have a negative 10x and a negative 4. Okay, they're both even numbers and they're both negative, so I'm going to factor out a negative 2. Negative 2 times what will give us negative 10x? Well, that's just 5x. Negative 2 times what will give us negative 4? That's just positive 2. Alright, so notice our parentheses match. So we have 3x minus 2. And each of those is multiplied by 5x plus 2. So that's it. Right in the box. 3x minus 2. Hit the right arrow key, new parentheses, 5x plus 2. All right, one more. So this is ax squared plus bx plus c. All right. A times c is going to be 8 times negative 5. Which equals negative 40. And b is going to be negative 18. So you write out the factors for negative 40 until you find two that add to negative 18. So for negative 40 you have 2 and negative 20. You can also do negative 2 times positive 20. You can do negative 4 times positive 10. 4 times negative 10. Okay? And do you see a pair that adds to negative 18? Right here. 2 plus negative 20 is negative 18. So instead of negative 18x, we're going to write 2x and negative 20x. Alright, so we have 8x squared and instead of negative 18x, I'm going to do 2x minus 20x. Okay, this adds to negative 18x. And finally you have negative 5. Alright. Now you want to group these, but you don't want a negative outside the parentheses. Alright, so make it plus negative 20x minus 5. Make it plus negative 20x minus 5. Okay, so do this right here and this right here. Alright. So 8 and 2 are both even numbers. We can factor out a 2. X squared and x, we can factor out an x. 2x times what is 8x squared? Well, that's just 4x. 2x times what is 2x? Well, that's just 1. Okay. Now these here are both negative. I'm going to factor out a negative 5. Negative 5 times what is negative 20x? Well, that's just 4x. Negative 5 times what is negative 5? Well, that's just positive 1. So we have 2x times 4x plus 1 and negative 5 times 4x plus 1. So 2x minus 5 is multiplied by 4x plus 1. That's it. Parentheses, 2x minus 5 hit the right arrow key, parentheses, 4x plus 1. Okay, so that's it. In all these, you're looking for two numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b. Okay, replace the b term with the factors that you get, and if these are both negative, just add a plus sign in between the parentheses at first. but then at the end you see they're going to be multiplied.